Okay, so we have this crazy looking equation, and we've done a few with just basic, there's an x squared and a y squared, a number at the end, and you just divide it out. There's a lot more involved in this. And so we have an ellipse that's defined by this equation, and it's in standard form. And we've kind of done this same process with our circles, so it's not something that's completely foreign. We're going to write the standard equation, then we're going to identify the center of the vertices and the foci. So let's go ahead and shrink this a little bit. And if you remember from circles, what we did is we're going to go ahead and group our terms together. So the terms with the x, I'm going to go ahead and put these guys together. And then I'm going to put the y's together. And I'm going to move that 336, that constant, to the other side, because that's going to come up. I'm going to call it the radius, even though it's not what it is, because it's an ellipse. And if you remember correctly, in order to get it into this standard form, where we have the x minus h quantity squared all over a squared plus y minus k quantity squared over b squared is equal to 1, I need to complete the square. So I have to complete the square with what's in red and what's in black. I have to do it for the x's and the y's. So we've got to be careful, though, because we have leading coefficients for each one of these guys. So I actually have to factor these out. So I pull out the 4, and I'm left with x squared minus 6x. And I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space here, because I know I got to complete the square on the inside. Plus, I'm going to pull out a 25 y squared plus 8y, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space because I got to complete the square, and that's equal to negative 336. So in order to complete the square, I'm going to take the middle term, divide it by 2, and square it. So that means I'm going to add in negative 6 divided by 2 squared. And on this one, I'm going to add in an 8 divided by 2 squared. Okay, so the little tricks that we've talked about, and actually before we jump into that, what do I add to the other side? We have to be careful, because not only am I adding this number in, but on the outside it's being multiplied by 4. So on the other side, I have to add in 4 times whatever this number is, which is 9. And I have to add in 25 times whatever that number is, which is 4 squared, which is 16 times 25. So I'm going to write out 25 times 16. I got to add that in. Sorry, I ran out of space out of the edge. Okay, so now that I've balanced my equation, I'm going to go ahead and start to simplify. If you need to, you can simplify it like this, and then look to factor. But there is a trick to it. And when I add all these guys together, I'm going to get 100 on the right side. The trick is that when I factor this, I'm going to get x minus 3 quantity squared, 4 on the outside, plus 25. Y plus 4 quantity squared is equal to 100. Notice we've talked about this, but the trick is you can skip this step in black and go right to what's in blue right here, because negative 6 divided by 2 is the negative 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So you could just hop whatever this number is in parentheses is how you can create your factor. So it's a little trick. Last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and divide everything by 100, and this is a little bit more similar to the problems that we've done in this section so far. 4 goes into 125 times. So I'm left with 25 at the bottom, and 25 goes into 100 4 times, and here is our equation. And so lastly, we're asked to find the center, the vertices, and the foci, so we're going to go ahead and crank that out. In order to do that, I need to have my a and my b. This guy's greater, so that's a squared, that's b squared, and so over here to the right, I'm going to go ahead and put my information in. So my center is 3, negative 4. My vertex, so it is a vertical major axis because it's larger on the underneath the x. So a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 2. I'm just taking the square roots of these guys. And so I'm going to add and subtract 5 to this x value right here, and that's going to give me my vertices. The y will not change. So if I add 5, I'm at 8, negative 4. And if I subtract 5, I'm at negative 2, negative 4. Co-vertices, I'm going to do the same thing, but it's the y value that's going to change, not the x value. So I've set it up where the x's are the same. So I'm going to add or subtract 2 to this guy. So if I add 2, that's going to give me a negative 2. And if I subtract 2, that's going to give me a negative 6. The focal point, in order to find the focus, we're going to take these two guys right here, the 25 and 20 and 4, and I'm going to do a squared minus b squared is equal to c squared. And I get 25 minus 4 is equal to c squared. I'm going to go ahead and move this up real quick. And so this one, we kind of have actually a very nasty number. We're going to have 21. So I'm going to get c is equal to the square root of 21. So how would I write that? So in order to write this, I'm going to have 3 plus or minus the square root of 21, because I'd shift root 21 units up and down to plot the focus. And so when we have a messy radical, we just put it in as plus or minus. And those are all the pieces that I would plot for the graph.